Good evening and welcome to this tonight's final summer table talk with parents. We have enjoyed our summers with you and really the excitement building up to this new academic year, preparing for students to come back to campus. It's an exciting time and I have to be honest, I have been extremely just thrilled getting to meet so many of you parents in person at orientation, feeling like you know us, you feel connected. That really reaffirms that the things that we're doing is working, because that's what we want. We hope that our families feel connected to the Shocker community. And so I just want to say thank you for those who have been along the journey with us this summer. For those of you who are new tonight with us, my name is Alicia Newell, and I have the privilege of serving as the Assistant Vice President of Student Affairs here at Wichita State. And I've been with the university a little over 15 years. And in my role, I kind of just serve as the mom for campus, getting to work with students as they walk through their journey. I'm a first generation college student, also an alum of the university. And so it's really exciting for me to meet students where they're at and to help get them to where they need to be. And so before we get started, I would like to turn it over to my colleagues and have them briefly introduce themselves. And then we will get started first with the Shocker store, followed by housing and a little bit about dining. And then we're going to open it up for questions. And so there's the chat box. Feel free to throw any questions you have at any time into the chat, and we'll get to them as quickly as we can. So Kim Sandlin, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Good to see everyone online again. As Alicia mentioned, my name is Kim Sandlin. I'm Director of Student Success here. So I've had a really fun time seeing many of your faces at our in-person new student kickoff day. So it is always fun going up and down the line as people are checking in and hearing those, hey, I know you, thanks for doing the webinars. So we're excited. If you have joined us on campus virtually all summer long, or this is your first time connecting with us, we're glad you're all here. We are excited to be so close to a new academic year. And really tonight's our final parent family table talk. So, anything is up for discussion and questions. So if you've joined us, or even if you have a question that's not on our topic of basic needs tonight, feel free to pop those in the chat, and we'll, do our best to address those. So I've been here a long time, over 20 years, was a student here. So I'll keep the introduction short and sweet. For those of you who have tuned in, you're probably sick of Alicia and me introducing ourselves. So I'm going to turn it over to Andy from our Shocker store, and who's going to introduce herself.
Hi, Shocker Nation. My name's Andy Stipp. I'm the director of the Shocker stores here at Wichita State. I've been with Wichita State here, it'll be 10 years in the spring. And so I've enjoyed my time thus far here in the Shocker stores for all of my duration here on campus. My favorite thing is serving students in back to school rush and how we can assist and help alleviate the stresses surrounding everything from textbooks at back to school rush to helping you figure out what regalia needs that you have when it's time for you to walk across the stage after you've completed your degree. Just to kind of give you a rundown, here on the Wichita State campus, we do have 2 Shocker stores. The best thing that you can remember is we're located next to Starbucks. So there are 2 Starbucks here on campus, one in the Radigan Student Center, and just outside of that Starbucks is our what we call our traditional college bookstore, or the Radigan Student Center Shocker store. This is where you'll find everything that you need, from snacks, Coke, medications, deodorant, shampoos, toilet paper, even if you run out in the dorms and it's, you're like, oh, I don't want to go to Target or Walmart to grab some, to diploma frames and graduation regalia at the end of your time here at Wichita State. Some of the things that I'm going to talk to you about are textbooks. So here in the Radigan Student Center is where we service students with textbooks. And a lot of people have questions about, how do I figure out what books do I need for my classes? how do I figure out how much my books are going to cost? And I'm going to tell you, our website, shackerstore.com, is the place that you need to go to as a reference. What you'll need to do is make sure that you have a schedule with you. So when you go to log into our website and click on the course material tab, you can go ahead and enter what are called CRNs, which are the unique numbers related to your classes. If you don't know what those numbers are on your schedule, you can go ahead and enter the department and the course number and enter in all of that schedule information that you have. And then you can click Find My Books, and it'll populate all of the materials that are required, recommended, or optional for you, give you options for those as well. So some of the course materials that we offer here in the Shocker Store, unlike when I went to school like 25 years ago, you had two options. You had new books and you had used books, and you always wanted to look for the yellow stickers because that meant that you were saving money. And so a lot has changed in that time. We now offer new books, used books, rental books. Rental textbooks are a lot like a Netflix, or not a Netflix, a Redbox DVD rental, where you pay a price to utilize your textbook for the duration of your semester, and then you give it back at the end of the semester. So up front, you pay cheaper than you would to buy the book because you're just going to borrow it for a short period of time. We also have what are called digital or access code cards, which is an all digital version of a physical textbook that you would have for your courses. And then we also have a program called Access Now. And Access Now is the most affordable option for your course materials available to students. The books themselves are actually placed into Blackboard, which is the learning management system that your students will use in their classrooms with their instructors. And so that's where they'll find their books. They're all digital, and it provides the students with a 20% savings when comparing it to the digital course material available. Not every class here at Wichita State is part of our Access Now program, but it is becoming very, very popular with the professors because it does help reduce the amount of money that students pay on course materials. So for all of you incoming students or students that are going to be living in the dorms, if you haven't already ordered your books from us, you can do that online through our website until July the 31st. Select your dormitory as your delivery option, and we will have them delivered in on your bed by the time that you move in to the dorms on your move-in date. So that's a service that we offer to students during the back-to-school rush time frame. We also have the option where you can pick up in store. That's free of charge. You can do UPS ground. I would recommend not doing UPS ground if you live on campus, because your books will leave our campus bookstore here in the Radigan Student Center, go all the way to Lenexa, Kansas, to the UPS hub, and then come back to campus. So there is quite a bit of a delay in that, about 2 days from the time that the process of that shipping happens. Or you can elect to just come in and we'll serve you and help you pull your books, and then you can go up to our cash registers and check out. Outside of our course materials, like I mentioned before, we have snacks and medications and everything that you may need in the dorm as a last minute, oh my gosh moment. But we have the largest selection of Shocker merchandise that you will find in the city of Wichita. We have everything from t-shirts to sweatshirts to cups to mugs to rally beads to dog leashes, dog bandanas, and cool stuff for your dorm rooms. I mentioned that we have another location on campus, our Brayburn Square location, which is near the other Starbucks on campus. And that location only sells general merchandise. So all your cool cups, mugs, apparel that you would want to wear and show your friends, or gifts that you'd want to buy for your family. That location does not sell school supplies, electronics, or any of those other things, textbooks especially, that I've mentioned. It is strictly just a retail facility. Other than that, we do sell computers, and we do custom orders for students that are looking for them. We carry what we consider a best base model of an electronic device for students. It is a Dell model, and we're running a back to school special, spend $4.99 and get a $100 cash rebate back at the completion of your order. So outside of those types of things, We are always on the hunt for great students. So if you have a student or you are a student and are looking for employment, we also have plenty of opportunities for you to come and work with us. So for all of you guys, welcome to Shocker Nation, and I can't wait to meet you in the fall.
Thanks, Andy. I have to just give Andy and her team a huge just round of applause. I can't tell you how much her team works to make sure that our students have their textbooks and needs when classes starts, and to see them come in at 4 or 5 in the morning and work way long past 8, 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night or in the morning sometimes, making sure that bags are ready for when students are skipping the line and they're coming in and they're just picking up because they're ordering online. And that is really, I think there was something you said one time, Andy, order online, skip the line, something I can't remember.
Save time, order online.
There you go. Save time, order online. And so that was probably like the best quote I ever heard. And as a parent, I hate standing in line. And so it was just helping and being on the other side and just handing students their bag. They gave us their card was the most efficient process I have seen in a long time. And so kudos to Andy and her crew for all that they do. And again, if your student, this weekend is really the last time for them to order online, right, Andy, for books to be delivered to their resident halls?
Correct. The 31st is the deadline for you guys to be able to place your orders online and be able to select the dormitories as your delivery location. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and process those orders, box them up, and we'll take them over to all of our friends at Housing and Residence Life, and we'll make sure that we get those into your dorm rooms for you. So that's one less thing that you have to worry about when you hit campus.
Absolutely. All right. So, okay. So at this time, we're going to turn it over to Miss Katie Austin, who's going to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about Housing and Residence Life, and then we'll jump into questions.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alicia. Yes, my name's Katie Austin. I've worked here at Wichita State in Housing and Residence Life for the past 9 years in various capacities, and we're getting very excited because it is so close to move-in time. I can't believe how quickly it's come up. So we are just preparing for your students to arrive and the family members, and ready for a big couple of weekends here as folks get moved into their residence halls. So when we talk about on-campus housing, we are referring to Shocker Hall, the suites, and the flats. Those are the 3 on-campus housing facilities. Your student has probably been getting a lot of emails from us with details about COVID testing, about packing lists, arrival guides, move-in time slots, all that good stuff. And if any of those things don't sound familiar, please tell your student to check their shockers.wichita.edu email address, because we're sending information that's going to help them be prepared when they are showing up for move-in. So the biggest thing is, again, signing up and making sure you have a time slot. Everybody can log in to their housing application and select a time slot, and that will tell us when you're coming so we can be prepared. Most folks have done this already, and we appreciate that. It makes our job much easier when we know when to expect you. The very earliest that any students can arrive is Saturday, August 7th. We have some special groups arriving that day. Passage to Success is arriving between 1 and 4 p.m. that day. Panhellenic Council sorority recruitment participants are arriving in the morning. Shocker Engineering Academy is arriving that day. So if your student is a part of one of those groups, they do not need to worry about a time slot because I have a list with their name on it for that special group showing up. And their program coordinator that's been in touch with them about the program, whether it's Passage or Shocker Engineering Academy, they will work with you directly and get us the lists, and we'll be ready for you to arrive. So we're looking forward to those groups as well as other folks that signed up for early arrivals. And then the main part of move-in, what we call general move-in, is when the housing contract starts, and that is August 11th through the 14th. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we'll be preparing for you all to arrive anytime between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. There are time slots available. You sign up on the half an hour. We're limiting how many people are signing up at each time slot to make sure we have plenty of parking and to make sure we can handle the crowds as they come in. So we're ready for folks to get here next week, starting on next Saturday. Some of the other details, we are having folks show up at their buildings For suites and flats, that means suites. Suites is where the general office is for both buildings. So all the flats and suites residents are checking in over at the suites in the main lobby, and all of the Shocker Hall residents are checking in the Shocker Hall lobby. We will have university police helping us with traffic and directing you to one of 2 lots over at Shocker Hall, where you will exit your vehicle, come in with your Shocker ID if you have it, or another form of ID, get checked in, get your keys or your fobs, or get your card activated, and then start unloading your vehicle. And once you've got your vehicle unloaded, you'll move that car to our satellite parking lot, at which time we will cart you back over. We're going to treat you right. Golf carts for all the buildings, so there won't be any long walks in very hot weather, but we do have folks moving as soon as they're unloaded so that other students can get close to the building to unload their items into some of our big rolling bins that we have to make it easy on you. There will be some move-in volunteers helping, making sure we have plenty of bins down there, and helping with wayfinding if you're not sure which A, B, C, D part of Shocker Hall you're supposed to be in. So we will be on hand and ready to assist, as well as the move-in volunteers. The other piece that I wanted to chat about is dining. So our dining contract starts the same day as housing, August 11th. That is when students can start using the dining hall. It will be open, and during move-in, our residents will be able to bring in up to 2 guests free of charge. So if they have parents and they're wanting to take them to lunch before they head off, or you've got 2 friends that joined you and they're seeing you off, dining has graciously agreed to have kind of a welcome meals those first few days, so that students can show up and take up to 2 guests in free of charge. So that's exciting. Everyone has a meal plan that's living in the on-campus residence halls. Our first-year students all have unlimited meal plans, and that includes suites and Shocker Hall residents. Those unlimited plans are truly what they sound like. Your student can go in as many times as they like. There's no worry of running out of swipes or having a declining balance. They will always have the ability to enter the dining hall 3, 4, 5 times a day if they like. And the difference between the unlimited plans is in the dining dollars that are attached to that. Now, dining dollars are good at any of the Radigan Student Center eating locations, including the grill and lanes downstairs now. That's been a change. That's exciting. As well as over in the dining hall or in the ground house. So they have different amounts attached to them. That's the difference between your plans. Students with dietary restrictions or special needs, vegetarians, vegans, we have lots of options in the dining hall. We're really proud. Our dining services team works really hard to accommodate the variety of needs that students might have. And they also set up individual appointments to meet with students who might have concerns or are unsure where to find certain things that they're looking for, or, they really try to ensure there's a good variety. So we recommend if somebody has concerns about the meal plan, because it is required both semesters, that you meet with our dining services team and they can work to make those accommodations for you. There's a very limited possibility of getting an exemption for that. They really have done a great job with the variety of options to meet those various needs. So it's very infrequent that someone will be granted an exemption from the meal plan. So prepare to find some things in there. They've got a great salad bar. They've always got lots of different options any given day. So the meal plans, like I said, do start on the 11th, and students will see the retail options in the Radigan Student Center all opening up that next week when school starts. So we'll get Freddy's back. The new Indian food option in the Radigan Student Center will be opening as well. So that's exciting. And of course, Starbucks is always there for you too. So lots of options for your dining dollars in the Radigan Student Center. I think those are the things I was going to touch on to get started, Alicia. If we want to jump into questions, we can do that. Oh, you're on mute. No,
I do that all the time. So, all right. So jumping into questions. And so I think you talked about, we had a question about vegan options in the dining hall. I can attest that there is plenty of options. And really, if your student feels that their needs aren't being met, talking directly with dining services will help tenfold. And just making sure that they have that connection. I know that whenever my daughter and I go in there and dine, they know who she is and they know what she likes, and they're ready to serve her, and I'm just like in the background. And so it's great. Just encourage your students to make those connections with our staff, because it definitely goes a long way when they go in. Second question is, you talked about it already, about students and dining options changing mid-semester or after semester, and how that's really not an option. That would have to go through a process, I'm assuming, Katie?
Yes, there is a process. You can change your meal plan. So if you want a different, as a returning student or a transfer student who might be living over in the flats, you have a lot more flexibility between plans if you'd like to change it at semester. If you want to change the amount of dining dollars, you want more or less, you can change that with at semester as well as a first year student, because that's really the only difference between the three first year meal plans is the amount of dining dollars. So if you didn't use them all and you want a smaller amount, you can change that at semester. Or if you used them up really quick and you want mom and dad to buy a bigger amount of dining dollars for you, you can change that too.
Okay. Andy, what should students do if their books aren't in?
So there's a couple of different options that we have. We try as best as we can to ensure that we have the books in a timely manner. Sometimes there's delays if there's a change in an instructor at the last minute for a course, and sometimes we don't receive that information until right before classes start. Other times there may be a new edition that's coming out from a publisher that it hasn't gone out to be mass shipped out to everyone who's ordered it, and sometimes those are delays that happen with us. We always communicate that information to the instructors in advance and let them know, hey, your book is on back order due to publication. Or sometimes professors have a tendency that they really, really, really like a book that was written in 1965 that is no longer in print. And we try to let them know that it becomes very, very difficult, not only for us to source that in the market, but also for all of their students and courses. Typically, we try to work to find an electronic version of that, or work with another company that produces kind of a variation of that. If there's a different version or a different edition of that, that will give you the same materials that the professor requests. But if you happen to be delayed in ordering your books, or you've changed classes after you got in and you dropped a class and added another one, and we happen to be out of stock, we highly encourage people to do what's called a place an order online and reserve your copy. What you're doing is you're placing an order for your book in advance, and before the books hit the shelf, we work what's called our back order list, which are all the people that have reserved their copies, and we work them and we work up your order, and then we send you a notification to let you know that it's in and available, or we'll ship it out to you. That's the quickest and easiest way to reserve your copies to ensure that you get your book in a timely manner.
Great. All right, Katie. So question of probably this next year as well, COVID.
Absolutely.
And so if a student were to contract COVID, who lives in campus housing, what is your process for quarantining and isolating, and anything else that you would like to share about, particularly the mail-in COVID test that we're requiring? If you can talk a little bit about that as well.
Absolutely. Yes. We had the opportunity last year to fine tune our COVID processes through our experiences. So we're in a good place. We know what we're doing. We've done this before. So we are ready and prepared to keep students safe and healthy here while they're in the residence halls. We are requiring that all residential students complete a COVID test, ideally before they arrive to campus. So we completed our mailing of those COVID tests out to students, and we are requesting that they complete that within 7 days of their arrival date. So if they're arriving on August 7th, we're requesting they mail it in to us August 1st. If they're not arriving till the 14th, they can mail it in on August 7th. And if for some reason you didn't get a test or you accidentally took it too soon, we know there was a lot of instructions in there to keep track of. We are more than happy to send another one. We have extras. I've been sending them out all week, and I would be happy to do that. You can just email the housing email address. That's housing.wsu@wichita.edu, and we'll get you another test. Now, if you are an international student or out of country for some reason, or you didn't get the mail and you're headed here real soon for an early move-in, you can also do that on campus when you arrive. So students will have 72 hours from their arrival to get the test if they were unable to beforehand. We know there are extenuating circumstances or people are traveling in between locations. So Student Health has appointments available. You can actually log on today onto your Student Health portal and schedule an appointment for when you arrive, possibly August 9th, or excuse me, the 10th, that Monday. No, the 9th is that Monday. Anytime that week, or if you're not arriving until the 14th, you could schedule it for Monday the 16th. So you can go on and schedule that online appointment anytime. And it's a very easy process to walk over to Student Health, spit in a tube, and they will get it taken care of for you. And the results are pretty quick too. So we also encourage folks that if they've been vaccinated to submit their vaccination records through the Student Health portal. Not only can you put your meningitis records in there that we require, but if you have COVID vaccinations, it's really helpful to them if you let them know that, because that will change things with how long you might be required to quarantine if you are exposed to someone who's COVID positive throughout your time this academic year. So the more information they have, the better they're able to help you with your health decisions as they move forward. So we strongly recommend you provide them those information on vaccinations if you have it. The other piece of COVID, when they're living with us, if someone tests positive, we do have quarantine and isolation spaces held off, similar to last year, where we will move a student. We've got a touchless process where we get them keys and things. We provide them with a moving bin. They take what they need. They move into a space that has a mini fridge and a microwave. We work with them and our dining services partners to make sure they have meals if they desire those. They can also order food in. We have lots of options of communication methods to just keep in touch with them while they're in that quarantine period, as well as retesting before they're released. If there was an exposure and not a COVID positive. So Student Health has, so much expertise in this area, and they partnered with us very closely all last year to make sure our processes and protocols were up to speed with the best practices and the latest recommendations. And so we will follow their lead again and work closely to make sure that students are able to quarantine safely if they so choose, or if they want to go home and quarantine, that's always an option too. So we are prepared and, trying to hope for the best, but we are prepared for if we have another surge. So I feel confident in what we've got in place, and we're going to continue to watch the county guidelines and watch the CDC guidelines. And if we need to change anything in regards to masks or, in-person programming, we will follow the lead of those who are our experts.
Perfect. Before we switch from the COVID questions, another question came in of where do you enter the testing vial barcode?
That is a great question. So there was in the email that students got a video that they could watch that would probably provide them with that information. But their best bet is to call Student Health. Student Health is inputting these every day and can explain step by step where that needs to go. And if a student also wishes to go test somewhere local near them, they're allowed to do that and just send their results to Student Health. And as long as it's one of the PCR COVID tests, not the rapid ones, but the PCR, it will count as their testing requirement too. So if they're feeling overwhelmed or uncomfortable administering it themselves or following all those instructions, they're welcome to go somewhere locally too and get that test done by a health professional and submit those results to us. So that's another option that's available to them.
When students were sent home last year because of COVID restrictions, there was a refund of a portion of housing. Do you anticipate that happening again should circumstances arise?
Sure. I assume we will follow the same protocols that we did last year in regards to refunds and things. We'll follow the lead of the administration. But if students are unable to stay in their residence halls, likely it'll be very similar to what was done last spring. So I don't want to say unilaterally that that's what's going to happen. We hope to be able to provide a safe and healthy environment for students to continue living in all year, now that we've learned a lot in the past year. But we will definitely communicate that out rapidly if we end up at that point.
Ethernet cords or Ethernet connections allowed? Do you have them in the rooms? That's a good question.
Yes, absolutely. So in Shocker Hall, we have wired internet. So there is Ethernet cords in the rooms. Now over at the flats and the suites, it is all just wireless. So that is a difference between the buildings. We have a media room over at the suites that has wired connections. So you can go down to the media room if you need to use that, or you need a really strong connection for something. But we have been working hard to make sure we have, great wireless capabilities with all of the online classes this year that really tested some of our capabilities, and we've been working closely with ITS this summer to try to enhance that to make sure that students have strong connections for any classes that may remain online.
Great. Just kind of going through these questions. You guys are submitting some really great questions. I feel I'm not reading them fast enough. And so bikes is a popular thing for students to have on campus. I know in the Shocker store, we even had some longboards at one time that students would pick up, and seeing them get around on campus. So is there any storage anywhere on campus for longboards or bikes?
Good.
Especially in housing?
Yeah, good question. So we have bike racks outdoors, and they can store, they can keep them there. They're not covered, unfortunately, at this point. We recommend a U-lock if anybody is parking their bikes out there. You want to make sure you have the most secure lock to make sure your bike stays put where you want it. Longboards can be brought in the building. They can't be rode in the building. And unfortunately, bikes cannot be brought in the building because of the wear and tear on the hallway carpets as they bring them through day after day. So there is, a couple storage options near campus that students have utilized before, but we currently don't have an actual storage option within the residence halls for bikes. It's a good question. Some people take them home at winter break, kind of when the weather turns, or Thanksgiving, and bring them back later around spring break time. Others leave them out there all year. So it's totally your choice on what you feel comfortable with.
All right. Andy, so we had a question about Shocker Store on campus jobs. Who do they reach out to? Where do they go to get a job?
Yes, absolutely. So there's a couple of different options. We also partner with other departments on campus that utilize Handshake. They'll cross-post our job listings, but the quickest and easiest way to get directly to the Radigan Student Center, and particularly the Shocker Store link to find job opportunities, is to visit wichita.edu/RSCHR. And it's just below my lovely face on the screen right now. We are actively hiring temps for back to school rush, and some of those positions actually roll into permanent positions with our students. We've also got event coordinators and student leadership roles open as well if students are interested in those. Typically our students work anywhere between 15 to 25, 26, 27 hours a week, just depending upon the load of classes and how many hours they're willing to work. But we do work around students and all of their activity schedules on campus, as well as their classroom schedules. So it's a win-win for students. We work around, like I said, your classes. If you're involved in Greek life, we work around all of your Greek life meetings that you have, your house meetings, and all of your different activities. So it's a great way to earn a little cash while you're going to school.
Yeah, I think Kim and I both echo, we hire so many students in our offices. I think the Shocker Store is probably one of our larger employers of student workers on campus. And it's really great just because, like Andy said, that flexibility that we have with our student workers of working around their schedule. And then they're also able to gain not only the experience and life skills working in our offices, but just the networking that they get of working with professionals on campus and being able to say, I'm having this challenge or issue, and then having a supervisor on campus who knows the connections. I can't tell you how many times I call these people here on the screen and I'm saying, hey, my student worker, I need some help. And it's just kind of expedited. So I highly encourage those of your students who are looking for a job on campus, check out Handshake, like Andy said, a lot of opportunities. And it's just overall, it's great because when, their spring break, they want to go home. They want to have a life. They don't want to work, Thanksgiving until, midnight, stocking shelves. If we're closed at, 5, 7 p.m., the latest, they get to go home and study. So it's a huge perk, I think, of working on campus. All right. So, Katie, we know that not all roommates love each other, right? Mm-hmm. And so can you talk about the roommate selection, how they can go about identifying who their roommates are? And then also what happens if that is not a good fit? What do they do?
Absolutely. So this week you should have got roommate and suitemate information emailed out, but it's always in the portal for you to view as well. You will see their username, and their username is the start of their email. So it's the front part, and then you add @shockers.wichita.edu, and that's their email. But this check your email account, because you should have got that information just yesterday. I think it went out officially. We do have a freeze period from October 1st to September 1st. Where we are so full and we have, people coming at different times that we say everybody kind of stays put in their rooms. And during this time, our resident assistants work really hard to go around to all of the rooms and set up roommate agreements. So this is kind of like a roommate contract where while everyone is still loving each other and we're all in the honeymoon phase, we are talking about expectations. We're talking about do we want to have guests in the room after 10 p.m.? Are we sharing food? Are we sharing clothes? What are our expectations for each other? What are we going to do about cleaning our bathrooms? Are we, every other time? How are we setting up some of these things? So we get that all down early on so that if issues come up, our RAs are trained in mediation and they come in and help you work through those problems. And we really recommend folks give that a try, because these are skills that you're going to build. These are life skills that are going to help you in the future. Learning how to work through some conflicts, learning how to talk about expectations. Really try hard to use those steps first. If that's not the case, starting September 1st, we do have room change requests that you can fill out online to see if another space is better for you. But be warned, as I mentioned, we're pretty full this year. We've got rooms held off for quarantine, but outside of that, we are stuffed. We are full. So there's not a lot of wiggle room, not a lot of extra spaces in there to move a student to. So we, again, really recommend that you practice your communication skills with your roommate. You don't have to be best friends, but you should learn to respect each other and your things, and have a good relationship where you can, and ask your RA to help with that. They have some great skills to help you make sure that you all are having a good experience and enjoying your living space.
Great. I can't echo that enough. A lot of times, as in orientation, I talk a lot about the helicopter and snowplow parent, and how it's so easy for us just to want to jump in and take over the situation and help protect our students. And really what we should be doing is help them work through those situations. And so really encouraging them to work with their RAs, work with their coordinators, to try to help see if they can't resolve some of those issues. And if not, we're always on standby to help see what we can do to make that change. Next question is, my son heard that they may not need all the books and to wait until his first day of class. I would rather order them now and be done. What are your thoughts?
Well, there's always lots of thoughts surrounding when to order books. Should I wait until after the first day of class? So let me help you with this. The first thing that I would recommend is have your child go out to Blackboard. Blackboard actually opens up to students next week for their classes, where they can go out and see the syllabus information if their instructor has posted it. Just to let you know, the Shocker Store does have a very lenient returns policy for the first 10 days of class. So if your student is taking a class outside of a pre-session class, students will have the opportunity to return their books in the same condition as sold up until the add drop date for their class. So if your student's taking a full semester course, you have the ability with your receipt to return your book up until August the 27th. It's not dependent upon the day that you bought it. It's dependent upon that add drop date for your class. If your student's taking a pre-session class, they have 24 hours from the time that they purchase the book to return the book in the same condition. If there's codes or anything, or if the book's shrink wrapped, we just highly encourage that you do not open those codes or scratch those codes or open that special shrink wrap on the books, because it doesn't allow us to resell them if they're returned. So if you want to go ahead and purchase them and then your kid gets into class a couple days in and they're like, it doesn't look like we're going to really use this book, or they don't think they're going to want to stay in the class and may want to switch to a different course or drop the course, it gives your child some flexibility there. So the returns policy for all of our orders is also online on the Shocker store under About Us, to where if you want to explore that opportunity. But I highly encourage, don't wait till the last minute, because sometimes we run into those issues where we may run out of stock for a day or two in getting books into your child's hand.
Great. A question came in about gift cards and if they work at the campus restaurants. So I'm assuming that if it is, say, a gift card for Fuzzies, yes, that will work at the campus stores. I know Starbucks, you can use those gift cards there as well. And so I know you can purchase gift cards for the Shocker store, things of that nature. There was also a question, Katie, about Shocker dining or Shocker dollars, and if parents did not add enough to their student's account, if they would be able to add at a later date, and how do they go about doing that?
Absolutely. They can add more dining dollars, and dining dollars is the residential dollar. So those dining dollars expire at the end of your housing contract in May. They carry over from December, from fall to spring, but they do expire at the end. Whereas Shocker dollars, you can purchase at any time also from the dining services office on campus, second floor, the Radigan Student Center. And Shocker dollars go on in perpetuity. They don't expire. So there's a little bit of difference between the dining dollars that are attached to your meal plan and Shocker dollars, which can carry over for as long as you need them. So sometimes we recommend they get Shocker dollars if they run out of their dining dollars. They both spend the same way. There's just some differences in expiration as it ties to your housing contract. So yep, those are available to purchase. And it's a nice option to be able to reload at any point in time if they happen to get really attached to Starbucks early in the semester and maybe burn through it a little quicker than they thought.
It's called the JOB, right? All right. So Kim, we have, and maybe Katie, we have a question about printing. Is that available in the resident halls? Maybe Kim, you could talk a little bit about where students can print on campus, or if they should bring their own printer. And then another question after that is orientation, and how do they get their student ID? Do they need it before move-in?
Sure, happy to take that one. On the, let me back up for a minute though on the gift cards. Before you purchase gift cards to, say, Chick-fil-A or Freddy's, those are sometimes not taken by, these are express restaurants that are located in the RSC. So sometimes they're not going to be able to take those. So the best thing is to add, if you wanted to do that, say $50 at Chick-fil-A. By the way, your student will go through that really, really fast. But if you wanted to do that, I would highly recommend putting dining dollars or money on your Shocker accounts and dining dollars, so that it is essentially the same. But some of those express areas are not going to take those retail gift cards. So just to know, some do, some don't. You kind of have to live and learn through that process. And sometimes those rules change a little bit. All right, printing. Yeah, so students can have use the printers in the library. There is a fee for those, and there's some different printers and stations and things around campus. The Office of Diversity and Inclusion has free printing. So those of you who may be connecting with that office, that is a perk there. Any of our military connected families, usually there's free printing in the Military and Veteran Student Center. So the key really here is to get connected to services, and sometimes you find those free printing options. I'm going to leave it to Katie to answer the question about printers in the residence halls, though. That's a really good question. quite frankly, if you have the means, I would recommend a small printer for your student. You never know when you need to print something out, when you need to print an email, when you need to print a form, when you need to print something. I would not recommend printing full page PowerPoint slides from classes because that can get very long. So if you have the means to do that, I would recommend that you'd bring a small one with you, because we have a lot of students who run into, the computer labs are full, or, everybody's at the printers at the, at the library, especially around like midterms and test times and things like that. So that's what I would say. But Katie, I'll throw it to you for the question about the printers in the residence halls.
Absolutely. We do not have printers in the residence halls outside of the Honors College. So the Honors College is located in Shocker Hall, and they have an Honors study lounge in there, and they have free printing as well. So whether you're in the Honors LLC or you're in the Honors program overall, you're able to go into the Honors office and print for free in there. So that's really the only option within the residence hall. So a lot of folks do bring, their own small printer to have on hand just in case.
And so talking about printers, Andy, let's switch over to the laptops that we're connecting to the printers. And so where can parents go to check out the sweet deals you have for laptops? They're eager. They want to know.
Yeah, the easiest thing to do, I would recommend, is to visit Dell.com and do a custom build of what you're looking for. Like I said, we carry one standard model. It's a 14-inch non-touch 8 gig laptop that comes with, just your basic needs. It's got a solid state drive. But, if you're wanting something more robust, say that you're in like a engineering major or field and you want like a gaming unit to be able to support the different softwares that you're going to be using, I would highly recommend to go to Dell.com, kind of go through and look at the specs of what type of model that you're wanting, and then send us an email to shockerstore@wichita.edu. It's on our website under Contact Us. There's also a link under there about where you can send us an inquiry and submit those specifications of what you're looking for. We work closely with Dell and getting custom educational quotes for students on models and things like that are generally more discounted than what you would find from a big box retailer. The only thing that we really find that there's not a lot of discounting on are printers, but they're very affordable. We are a Dell University campus retailer, which means we try to go through Dell for all of our products. If you're a marketing major and you're not wanting to use an Apple product, we are an HP retailer as well. So just let us know which one that you prefer, and we're happy to go ahead and do the legwork and get you a great quote.
Great. And I will echo, I think one of the things is kind of waiting and seeing if your student truly needs one of the programs or softwares for their computer, because those can be a little pricey. And also, I think most of our departments on campus, our academic partners, they have these programs on campus that your students can utilize for free. And so make sure that you're checking all options, because the worst thing is I don't want families to think, oh my goodness, my student's going to fail because they don't have access to this. And that's not so. We do have the availability of these, having these software programs on our computers in our campus labs for them to use. But if it's something that they need, definitely have them check it out. But do what Andy said. Go to Dell.com. All right. So we talked about dining dollars and being able to add that to students' account. So the lingering question, and this really changes on a daily basis, is COVID, and are we going to require masks this fall? And so, Kim, you want to take that one?
Sure. Love to. We have no way of knowing if we're going to be requiring masks. We will follow what the county guidelines typically are. That's what we have done in the past. And as Katie mentioned earlier, we are really in tune with what's happening. Camille Childers, who many of you have probably met through one of our other programs, is part of that county group that puts together those guidelines. And so we've been very fortunate as a campus to have her and to also be led by a president who is from the public health sector. So we have some experts who are leading us through this. With that, I would say can change at any time. As of 5 o'clock, I saw a notice that the governor has required. I have not read the words, so I do not know what the words are. So I will put a disclaimer out there that I have not read this, but that, she's saying that masks are needed inside if you can't distance, and it doesn't matter if you have the vaccine or not. So that is very new information, and that could change tomorrow. You'll have to kind of stay tuned on that. I do believe what the information that I saw at the end of the day today, which is very, very new, is that we will have a statement out tomorrow from our president who will give us a little bit more guidance on what that means. And probably it's going to be, we don't quite know yet. So that's kind of, the thing, you live and learn, and you're ready to roll with whatever, the case may be. I would say if you're trying to prepare, we've said this all summer, that you need to send masks with your students or face coverings with your students. And they need to know how to take care of them and wash them and reuse them. There's a lot of options for disposables, and that's some students and people's preferences, and that's perfectly fine. But you can burn through a box of those pretty quick. And although we have, offices have them for students available, we run through those awfully quick when the semester will begin as well. I would say that regardless, this is pure speculation on my part, regardless if we do pivot, I hate that word now, to go online at any point in the semester, it's very doubtful that we will change the academic calendar. Again, we've got the tools to do this. We had to do it this past year and a half. We learned a lot. We know what to do, and faculty have been preparing to be able to be flexible in the type of instruction in the classroom, and service areas like ours. If we needed to go home in an hour, we could go home in an hour. So that's what I would offer you. You need to send your student prepared at any point in time to change that learning environment, and to be ready for rules to change on campus. I would also recommend that if your student chooses not to wear, a face covering or whatever, that we don't have to mandate it or whatever, that they're prepared with one in their backpack. And, if you carry a purse or fanny pack or whatever's hot these days, I don't really know. I would have one in there just in case, because you never know when something is going to change or when you're going to need it. So we want to make sure that we're protecting everyone. It's everyone's responsibility to keep everyone safe on our campus, and so that's what we're going to do. So if you're interested, you can check out our website. We have COVID news updated all the time, and our faculty are keeping their eyes and ears open as well, so that we are ready to whatever learning environment comes, we should be prepared for that. So that's what I can say for now. But you know what? At 6:58 tonight, there may be new mandates. There may not be any mandates. We don't know. So your students need to keep an eye out in their student email accounts. And I would just check that COVID news website, because that is regularly updated, regularly reviewed. And if you have any questions, you can email us and we'll do the best that we can to get it answered. But always be prepared. You never know what's going to happen. So send them back with masks, with sanitizer, Clorox wipes, the whole gamut. So
great. So I'm just going to put in a shameless plug right now. And so for all of the, I would say some of the most up-to-date information, definitely like, follow, share us on social media. That's at Wichita State or Wichita State SA. You can also join our parent family newsletter, which this next Friday, the president will be putting in an update in our newsletter regarding COVID and some of the updates and things that will be coming down the pipeline. And so we will send that all to you. We have a lot of reminders and things of different topics that we talked about throughout this semester or summer. Even some of the things that Kim and I talked about during orientation regarding FERPA and everything else under the sun, how to have access, how to pay bills. And so if you've not already done so, go ahead and submit a request at the link provided in the chat. Katie, can you, yep. Go ahead, Kim.
Sorry, I need to add something. I don't remember if I said this or not. The governor's statement was for state buildings only. So I want to make sure that that's clear because this is a very hot topic on all sides from every angle. So all of the buildings on our campus are state buildings. We are a state institution. So that means our buildings are state buildings. So I wanted to make that clarification. But you need to keep your eyes and ears on our website and in your email about any, rules that will change or policies that will change or go into place. So nothing formal right now. There's nothing, we're back to pre-COVID operations and have been for quite some time. So that's where we're at as of today at 6:56 p.m.
When in doubt, prepare to mask up. So quickly, I know we're kind of running close to time. There's a couple questions about TVs and having cable TV in rooms, and then also scooters or electric scooters. Are those allowed on campus? And then can students leave cars on over break? Can they leave their cars on campus?
Okay, so they can if they choose to. Students can continue to stay on campus over winter break. That's a part of their housing contract, so they can certainly leave vehicles there. I would, parking services will put out some more notices closer to break about, best practices on that sort of thing, leaving your vehicle unattended for that long. We do not have cable TV in Shocker Hall any longer. That was a change from last spring to this fall. Our 7-year cable contract was up, and we've been assessing that for a while to see if that was a need, and the usage has gone down significantly in the last 4 years as streaming has become more popular. So we have not renewed that cable contract. We took that money that had been put towards that service and instead are using it towards providing free laundry at Shocker Hall. So students at Shocker Hall will now, similar to the suites and the flats, they had free laundry because they had in-room units. Shocker Hall residents will have free laundry. So no cable. Most folks are streaming anyways, but we will have free laundry. Students don't need to bring coins or debit cards, and we hope they will do their laundry more frequently because of this as well. E-scooters are not permitted in the residence halls due to the charging, the lithium batteries, and the fire safety issues around that. The fire safety team on campus is actually working on getting some university policies put through on that this year. But we have any combustible materials, and we consider those lithium batteries combustible based on some instances of that happening, are not permitted in the residence halls. So good questions about that. There was a question about whether there's also Wi-Fi in Shocker Hall, and there is. So there's wired internet as well as Wi-Fi in Shocker Hall.
Okay. And so out-of-state folks that are coming, welcome to Kansas. Are they able to ship things to Shocker Hall, Katie?
Yes, they can do that, and they can start now. We're already getting things in. The shelves are starting to fill up. So students can ship things. They would do that. The addresses are on our website. If you click on your building page, to the right-hand column is where you'll see the addresses, the physical addresses for the buildings, and you would put your student's name and their room number. And then if they're Shocker, it's 2020 North Perimeter Road. Suites has one, Flats has one, and they can ship it now. We'll hold on to it till you get here. You'll have an email saying that you have a package. You'll come down and sign for it, and it's all yours.
Excellent. I have to say, back to the mask thing, some of my favorite masks that I own, and I am like a mask connoisseur, came from the Shocker store. And so if you have not checked out some of the amazing Shocker masks that the Shocker store has, check them out online. They're great. I love them. I have about like 5 or 6 of them that I switch out every once in a while. And of course, my favorite. And so definitely check those out. Last thing that I will say, I'm trying to go through here real quickly. I cannot forget, we have 2 winners tonight, 2. And so just as a thank you to all of our families for sticking with us and going along this journey with us this summer, we have 2 winners tonight for a $50 gift certificate for the Shocker store. So maybe you will want to share that with your student, or you can keep it for yourself. It's completely up to you. Buy a parent, I'm a proud Shocker mom or dad shirt. Anyway, and so tonight's Shocker store winner is Tawanda Heron. And so congratulations to Wanda. And our winner for the $50 Shocker dining dollar or Shocker dollars is Jennifer Parrott. And so we will get those added to your student's account. There's a lot of questions. I think we pretty much were able to get to most of them, all of them. I will be going back through online and trying to answer any other questions we may not have gotten to. But at any time, if there's questions, comments, concerns, issues, please do not hesitate to connect with us. That's what we're here for. If you email shocker.family@wichita.edu, that will come to my team and I. We will get back with you as soon as we can. Also, if there's other topics that you all would like to hear throughout the semester, Kim and I are committed to continuing this. We love getting to meet with our families. I was at Walmart the other night and a family was here with their student and it was great. They were like, Alicia, and I was like, hey, but it's great because we want you to feel a part of the family. And this is a great way for us to be able to do that until you're able to join us on campus. And so there was a question in here about moving a student in and having to go off and then come back. And at orientation, I say I wear 2 things at, move in, and that's my little fanny pack. And then I have scissors inside because we're cutting the umbilical cord. We're not going to kick you out. We're not pushing you out. We know that this is a time of transition and you really want to help your student feel comfortable in their resident hall and have that time before you do leave them. And so we just ask that as you move your students in, just be cognizant of the larger gathering spaces because we want to make sure that we're having those spaces at a minimum. So we're just following the guidelines and things of that nature. And so make sure that families that when you do come to move your students in, go ahead and plan on bringing a mask. And then we look forward to rolling out the carts. I say that we have the best move-in process because to me, it's red carpet. We are rolling out these big, giant carts to your door and we load them up. Parents typically don't have to lift a finger because our volunteers are welcoming students. They're pushing it up to the room. I will give you a little mom tip is that on every single box that you have packed, make sure you put your students' first and last name and then their hall number, their room number, because if for some reason your volunteer and your student get separated, the volunteer knows where they're going. I had that happen one year and it took me like a minute to track them down. So other than that, we're so excited to have you and your students on campus in the next couple of weeks. If there's anything that any of us can do to help you with this transition, do not hesitate to ask. Give us a call. Just know that we are on standby. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you on campus soon. Bye.